think I'm Ronte.
Come on.
I think I'm Tony Jaa.
Come on.
I think I'm Dizano.
Come on.
I think I'm Sanchez.
Come on.
I think I'm Payakaru. Lurzilla Burka. I think I'm Muay Thai. I think I'm Muay Thai.
Chama, I was looking really for like, how should I start this podcast? Os, Oi, or whatever you're saying in the martial arts that you're training. I like Chama the most, though. It's the most, I don't know, it comes from your chest with a conviction and so on, so I kind of like this the most. So welcome to the kickoff episode, the kickoff for Fight Principles, the podcast. Just a quick outline what this will be, because still working on guests and kicking it off soon with guests, with interviews and so on, of course. But just to let everybody know why you should subscribe right away, and to get the Spotify and Apple Podcast feed going, of course. So, Fight Principles is all about finding principles from martial arts and applying those principles to real life. We also have a website called fightprinciples.com. We are on social media, on Instagram, at Fight Principles. Right now, I'm not going on X, sorry. And trying just to figure out, like, how does martial arts apply to real life? And, like, you're wondering, like, why are you talking about it, right? So I'm not a famous fighter or anything, otherwise you would know me already. But so just to my personal background, I'm a university professor. I worked in consulting and marketing and so on before, and started martial arts maybe around 10, 11 years ago, with Muay Thai, like very, very slowly. Got into it with like Muay Thai in the park, like once a week, like very basic. Like didn't even dare to go to a gym back then because I thought I'm not a fighter. And slowly grew into it, and now also had fights and all and so on over the past few years. But so that's been a long journey, and I just sit there and reflect here and there, and thought there's so much more than just training itself or just fighting. And when I look back, I think I try to actually apply lots of those fight principles, martial art principles, if you will, into my daily life, into my teaching in university, into research, into consulting work, into daily life. And that's what this podcast will be about. We'll be talking to fighters, but not only fighters. We'll be talking to just people who are into martial arts and see, like, how do they incorporate martial arts into the daily life, and like what do they learn from actually being in martial arts. And so we will be looking into like personal growth, success stories, like how martial arts help with this. We will focus on how martial arts, for example, teaches you resilience and discipline, or maybe helps you to adapt faster and learn from challenges, all those things. So I hope that at the end of every episode, you will have some takeaways, like some practical takeaways. You will hear some stories from martial arts and life as a martial artist from all those different guests that we're working on already. Hopefully, you will also have like this blend of philosophy and actionable advice in the end, so that you actually can take something away from it. So that would be the goal. Usually when I talk to people in the gym, fighters that I meet, or like, to be honest, mostly it's people in the gym that are martial artists but not professional fighters. I'm very inspired by, like, why do you still show up 5 times a week to train, for example? Or even if it's not 5 times a week, twice or once a week, but you still, like, you're so busy and you still make a point of being there. Like, why? What gives? It's very, very interesting / inspiring. To just give you like a bigger picture of like, why am I talking about it? Like I said, it started like maybe 10 years ago, so with martial arts, so not since I was a kid, unfortunately. And I'm way more focused on the striking arts, such as Muay Thai, boxing, more as like someone who admires someone who's boxing, but personally like more fighting into Muay Thai. But I also will have help here with people that are also into, for example, Jiu-Jitsu and other martial arts. I do follow lots of martial arts and MMA in particular. this podcast here is based in Bangkok, Thailand. So there's an abundance of martial arts events. One championship has events here every week, for example. So we're very much entrenched or in the trenches of martial arts, of course. So that will be no problem. And I don't want to make it too much about myself. So if you really want to know who I am, who I was, who I could be, you can see it on the website. They're about me. Just click on it and you see some stuff. But it's really not about that. It's really about like what can we learn as people from martial arts, as individuals from martial arts. And I can't wait to kick this off with our first guest. So yeah, guests coming. Do like, share, subscribe. Don't share just yet, but subscribe because we'll be kicking off Fight Principles podcast very, 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 very soon. And I'm very excited for it. Now, before I leave you with that, and because now it's just like a trailer, kind of like a teaser, like sign up or things like this, I do want to quickly mention a few things that we already have on the website. So on the website, we already have a few articles up that talk about, for example, some core fight principles. I mentioned earlier, for example, resilience is being, I think, very important, right? So, and I might have the Muay Thai like striking fighter point of view right now, but then you're taking hits, but you keep moving forward. Sounds like a Rocky movie, right? And in real life, I mean, that also helps you if you show resilience, right? If you have like if you struggle at work and you're not giving up, or you have a personal setback and you're not giving up. So the resilience is important in fighting, in martial arts, and also in real life, if you will. Like discipline, like showing up every day, even if there's no motivation, you still go to the gym, you still train. Same thing applies to real life, right? Consistency helps you to get better at your job, at your relationships, whatever it might be. Adaptability. Right, you have to adjust to your opponents, to challenges. They're not always sparring is different than fighting, for example. In real life, the same thing. You have to pivot all the time, right? So there's so much we can learn. I think. I think on the website I also wrote in the article that like focus is something that I think we can learn from martial arts, right? How to stay like when you're in a fight, you have to stay present. You have to be like in the here and now, clear-headed, under pressure. Your opponent is coming at you. You have to make the right decisions. And that also happens in the real life, right? Stress everywhere all the time, your job, at home, wherever you might be. So yeah, we can take lots of learning here as well. And the last thing I mentioned on the website is I think that you can also learn from losing. Yeah, because of course you don't always win unless you're Khabib, but you don't always win. So growth comes from failure. Like failing forward is like a famous buzzword, and I think that actually applies to martial arts, of course. So in the real world, the same thing, right? You fail at something, you cannot just pack your bag and give up. No, you try again, you try better. So I think that's just some examples of how martial arts applies to real life, and we will explore all those different facets here in the podcast further as we kick it off very, very, very soon. So I keep this intro very short. So thanks already for tuning in. I can't wait to get this started because I'm really excited. It's like definitely my favorite side project, if you will, right now. So it's going to be lots of fun. So in the meantime, maybe you can already start reflecting on like, what's your fight in life right now? Like, what's the challenge that you're fighting through right now? If you have anything, leave it in the comments, like either on Spotify in the comment section right away, or maybe on Instagram at Fight Principles, because then we can also touch on that already in maybe one of the upcoming interviews. And we can maybe then address like how we would handle those situations, and maybe there's something to be gained from if you listen to others, how they would handle those situations. So what are you fighting through right now? Shout out in the comments on Spotify or on social media at Fight Principles, and then we'll address those in one of the next episodes. Okay, so thank you very much already. I can't wait to get it started, and until then, stay safe, take care, and Chama.
I think I'm Rod Tang, I think I'm Tony Jaa, I think I'm Diesel Noy, I think I'm Sancha, think I'm Payakarun Lur Zilla Buaka, I think I'm Muay Thai, I think I'm Muay Thai.